Yeah. I just, oh man, it's so like, if that were like an Olympic jersey, no one would buy it and they would freak out. The only reason it's okay is because no team is actually going to wear that. If a real, like, that was what I looked at with all my stuff. I was like, would an NHL team wear this? For most part, sometimes I did a trade for the Outlaws. That was just a joke. But, like, you know, no NHL team is going to step on the ice with an all black jersey with just green, like highlighter green trim. You know, that's not going to happen. That's a very minor league kind of idea.
I mean, it screams Oregon Ducks, but I love it.
Yeah. I can't stand the Oregon Ducks.
I guess that's the primary difference between you and me, Mac, is that I am looking to see something else other than what I normally see on television, and I want to embrace the fantasy. I think I have a decent eye for professional versus minor league or junior or rec team or, you know, and the like.
Right.
And I would like to see some of the funkier ideas start bleeding into the mainstream, because what we mainly see, particularly in North America, is it's either white base, blue base, or red base. And I'm sick and tired of looking at red, white, and blue, and black isn't a quality substitute. And I know I definitely hear the irony given my statement about the North Carolina Nighthawks. But the black phase of the 90s within the NHL was stupid. I just want to see people trying to expand the size of the box. Because I understand.
Well, I mean, I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree that, like, I think we talked about this a while ago. I was thinking about writing this big long thing, and I eventually just got so frustrated with it that I stopped. But, you know, I think we need to change the way we look at things. The three-stripe Boston Bruins, Montreal Canadiens, chest stripe shit isn't working anymore. You know, it's boring. I love the Olympic jerseys because they're different, and it does what the Olympics are supposed to do. It unifies the countries, but it highlights the players. So it's more about who's playing and less about look how great they look, you know? There's a classic look between all the teams are buying into the same, we are the world, like, Olympic thing. Now let's be our countries, you know? Which I think, and I don't dislike the Nighthawks jersey because of the striping or whatever. I just don't like the black on black. The white jersey's fine. Make the black jersey like lime green with black trim. It's fine. It's just the black on black is, like you were saying, the 90s coming back and biting us in the ass.
Jacob Bourne!
Matt Riegler.
Can you even spell Riegler?
R-I-E-G-L-E-R.
You're just looking at the screen.
Fuck no, I'm not. That's all from memory.
Attaboy. Jacob, you made a trade last night.
I did make a trade.
It warmed the cuckles of my groin because I've been trying to make a trade with about 6 different teams for about 6 weeks now, and to see my good man and radio partner, Jacob Bourne, finally make a trade that includes my boy, Matty Molson.
Yeah.
I went to sleep with a smile on my face.
One, Molson's out to the Olympic break. I did not know that before I made the trade, so that's awesome. However, I wasn't sure if Halifax knew that Ben Bishop had an injury, so I guess it's just karma biting me in the ass. But yeah, and I hope this makes you feel any better. It happened legitimately in probably 5 hours, and 4 of that was me at Rush, at a meeting, and watching basketball.
I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna put my good hand down my pants now. Jake, did you know about Matt McElroy, our guest today on this lovely little podcast, before you joined the ICHL?
Yes, I did. And I knew him as a name. Because
So where he existed.
No, I knew that he was there, and the only way I knew him was as one of the many contributors to submitting concepts on aesthetic.info.
And that's think of his work.
I always thought it was really good. I was like, who the fuck is this Matt kid who keeps getting on the front page and putting all these damn good concepts on? I'm not sure if this is true, Matt, and you can correct me, but I think it was a blues concept where they were in yellow, but this was like 2 years ago.
Did I do that?
Maybe. I have no idea. I just remember thinking that that's what really hooked me on aesthetics was because my brother actually showed it to me. It was this blues concept, and then we kept going back, and there was like lightning concepts and phoenix concepts, and I just started. That's what really hooked me, and I think it was a yellow. It was either a vintage blues or a yellow blues jersey, and I think it was your name on it, but I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think so. The Blues are not a favorite of mine.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Sorry to crush your hopes and dreams on that one. We can say it's mine.
This is me back in senior year of high school, so that's 4 years ago. I was definitely at home.
Are you guys sure this wasn't the tournament of logos?
No, because I didn't know about aesthetics before that.
Yeah, and there was no yellow blues anything in the tournament of logos.
Yeah. Although I am pumped that's coming back.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Matthew McElroy, the man, not the myth, because we've proven that you exist, but also the legend.
Well, yeah. Like
the legend of aesthetics.
That sounds like a great video game. I ask this question to everybody that comes on, even Jake, I ask this of, what are your hockey beginnings?
Oh boy, my hockey beginnings. Well, I guess, I was born, and then I started playing hockey. No, but in all seriousness, my dad is from Detroit originally, and my mom is from New York originally. My dad is a die-hard Red Wings fan, has been forever, and my mom was a huge Islanders fan, and they got married, and I guess had me somewhere along the lines. So, my family has always been a hockey family. We don't like football, we don't like basketball, we don't like baseball that much. We are a hockey, family. So I have played hockey my entire life.
Awesome.
Your family is just so cool, and your parents are awesome because one's a New Yorker and they also named you the best name in the world.
Yeah, I really like yours too. Give your my thanks to your parents for letting me share it.
Hey Ma! Hey Ma!
Ma, the meatloaf! Ma, the meatloaf!
God. Oh, they like my name! They like my name! He put me on. In any event, tell us more, please, about what it was like playing hockey where you grew up.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, I'm from beautiful Southern California. I live in Hermosa Beach, which is a beach town. I can see the beach looking out my window right now. We're very close to the water. And it's not your typical hockey city, but I grew up playing hockey at the local ice rinks. I have always played ice hockey. I'm not a roller person at all.
Interesting.
I grew up playing at this sort of family-owned rink in Harbor City, which is down the street, and then later on at Toyota Sports Center, which is where the Kings practice, and which is just down the road.
Were you a member of the Junior King
season? I played for them. The rink was being remodeled, so we played in Pasadena, which is 30 minutes away from my house. And then the year I was going to play for the junior, they didn't have a team in my age group, so I went even further, which is 45 minutes away. So I never actually got to play for the Junior Kings because the year I was going to switch to start playing for them, they didn't have a team in my league, or in my age group, I guess, and my division. So I went to play for the California Wave, which is 45 minutes away from where I live, and they were great. A bunch of players who play in the NHL have gone through the Wave, and it was a great experience, and we've played all across the country, and we won league twice and went to states twice and came in second once and didn't do so well the other time, but it was a great experience playing, club hockey in California. And I played in my high school team as well, and we played Jay Sarah, and we killed them 10-2, and Jay Sarah later went on to win the high school championship that year. So, California hockey, especially youth hockey, is on the rise, and I think it's funny that people still don't think of us as a hockey state when I definitely feel like we are.
My question is, did your club team, the California Wave, have anything to do with the California Wave team in the ISHL?
Well, they didn't at first, but they do now. So the original California Wave my club team was founded in like 1994. They are one of the oldest club teams in Southern California. So they predate the IceHL California Wave greatly. I don't know whoever submitted that name may have known of us, but I don't know. All I do know is that before I was good at designing and the IceHL was still a baby and we were picking the name for the Wave, I tried to submit the actual California Wave, like my club team logo, as my own. And Chris was like, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, okay, sorry. Bye. I was also like 12 years old at the time, and it was, I don't know if I was 12, I might have been 15, but, however old. And I was like, yeah, sorry, gotta go. But now, the Wave just bought rights to the IceHL Wave logo.
No way!
And use it on their scouting jerseys.
No way.
Yep, and they wear the Gordon Fisherman jerseys.
Yeah.
Yes.
They wear those jerseys, but in teal with that Wave logo.
Wow. Or the Wave jersey in the IceHL kind of has that Islander fisherman jersey-esque look to it.
Yeah, it's similar, but these are direct cutoffs. They had asked me to do a jersey for them, and they said they wanted gray with that logo, the IceHL logo, and I did that, and it was like a really cool Blackhawks jersey, but it was gray with navy stripes and white bottoms, and then the new Wave logo, but then they decided to go for the Fisherman jersey, and I was very upset. Yeah. But they still look good, and I guess all the kids like them, so that's all that matters.
Dude, I gotta get me a Wave jersey. That should be the thing that wins the next jersey contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you could actually buy one if you really were so inclined.
Okay.
From the club.
All right.
Yeah, I'll try and figure it out.
Shit, that's fucking awesome.
Our uniforms are always really nice. I'll see if I can get a picture of all of the ones that, not only that I wore, but the new jersey with the Wave logo on it for you guys.
Sounds good. So, did you watch the Stadium Series game in Dodger Stadium?
I did not watch it in Dodger Stadium, but I did watch the entire game.
I understand. Thoughts on Wayne Gretzky being the only person that they venerated and celebrated?
I don't know. I mean, if you played hockey in California, like during the 90s to now, they're like, oh, so thanks to Wayne Gretzky, and we've all just sort of gone like, yeah, it was Wayne Gretzky. But, the people who deserve credit, I'm sure got some form of credit. I know Luc Robitaille is a huge part of the Junior Kings and the Kings organization now, and Gretzky did sort of bring attention to the Kings at a time when maybe they wouldn't have gotten it. So, yeah, a lot of it goes to him, but, there are other people, and, there's Ducks who could have gotten credit. And
who are some of the other players that you think should have been given credit as well?
I mean, I might be a little biased because I am a big fan of this person, and I also didn't get to see them at Throwback Night at the Pond, but I would have loved to see Wayne Gretzky and Paul Kariya drop the puck for this game.
That would have been awesome, but I think that's a really funny contrast between Tony.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as
Tony
well.
does not like Paul Kariya. I love Paul Kariya. He is my hero through and through forever. Like, the guy you look up to when you're a little kid, for me, was Paul Kariya. And, like, when he left, I was heartbroken. But I was still a fan of him when he went elsewhere.
I think that's a great opposite of Tony. Because Tony loved him when he was with the Ducks. And then he bolted, and he just fucking hates him now.
Liked the Ducks because I liked Paul Kariya. I didn't like the Ducks and then like Paul Kariya. And I think that's why it's the opposite.
Yep.
So I was able to keep my affinity for Paul Kariya even when he left, which made me like other teams.
Like the Blues.
Because I was like, Paul Kariya and Andy McDonald, they're not on the Ducks anymore, but I like the teams they're playing for.
So I'm sure you had some cognitive dissonance when both Andy McDonald and Paul Kariya decided to suit up in the Blue Note.
Yeah, it was weird. It was uncomfortable, but it was kind of like a weird pleasure that I never thought I would enjoy again.
It's the same thing with me and Brett Hall, because when I was growing up, I loved Brett Hall. And then I got a Stars jersey specifically when he went from the Blues to the Stars. And then he went over to the Red Wings. I was like, it hurts. I still like you, but I'm not going to root for you whenever we're playing against you.
Right. Yeah. No, I know that feeling for sure.
Did that also apply to Luc Robitaille, Mac?
That is kind of funny because, Robitaille as a King he was sort of, one of the big faces of the franchise. But then he went to the Red Wings, and my dad and I love the Red Wings, so that was like not a problem for us. When he won the cup, we got to go to his house and lift the cup there, which was amazing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, my dad works at a bank, and one of his clients was buddies, and we all went, and I have pictures from that too.
Did you touch
amazing?
But you touched the cup.
I've touched the cup on several occasions. I know you're not supposed to, but I figured I'm never going to play in the NHL, so why not, right?
Yeah.
Wait. Tell us about touching the cup.
Well, when you touch the cup, you have to gently cradle it in your hands. It's so large and beautiful that it kind of brings a tear to your eye and makes you feel things you never thought you would experience. So yes, I did enjoy touching the cup. I feel like some people can make a lifetime out of touching cups, but for me, it was just a 1 or 2 time thing.
Thank you for that.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, try.
Jake, take the next one.
I don't really know where to go from there.
All right,
where do you go after touching cups? I mean,
to the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I love the Mighty Ducks.
Do you have a preference to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim versus the Mighty Ducks of Disney?
Well, that's tough for me because as a Disney person, I love the Mighty Ducks of Disney. I love the Mighty Ducks, the hockey team, and I am indifferent towards the Anaheim Ducks. So that's sort of the order of the progression.
Yeah, Anaheim Ducks are meh.
Yeah. Oh, you're wearing black? That's fucking creative.
Tell us about you and Adam Banks and Charlie Conway and Emilio Estevez.
I am a big fan of those movies. I remember going to Blockbuster, and every week my dad would run a movie and I was around to run a movie. And it got to the point where he's like, all right, we've watched The Mighty Ducks before. We don't have to see it again. I was like, but Dad, this one is on DVD. And he's like, Matt, you're 20 years old. We're not renting movies from Blockbuster anymore. I'm a big fan of those movies. I was an assistant captain on one of my teams, and my coach always called me Captain Conway, and so that was fun. I love the Ducks. I'm a big fan of Conway. Don't like Banksy so much. Whenever one of our friends whose goalie plays poorly, we're like, Goldberg!
Wait, so what's your opinion on the animated Mighty Ducks series?
Oh, it's great.
Yes.
I think I have those. The jet came out of the middle of the ring.
Yes!
It was great. Wild Wing was fantastic.
Yeah.
Wild Wing, that's what it was called.
Yeah, Wild Wing. He's the Ducks mascot.
Yeah.
He's cool.
I'm so glad that I'm not alone in the fact that I love the Mighty Ducks series.
Hey, I loved it too. I was just able to get some perspective on it.
No. I think you were just bitter and deep and scarred.
I mean, a little bit, but...
Wait, okay. One last Mighty Ducks question. D1, D2, or D3? Which one's your favorite?
Okay, well, D2 sucks, so we're not going to worry about
that. What? D2's my favorite. I love that one.
No. I think D3 is the best because, the new coach, actually knew what he was talking about. He's like, you're not playing like Warriors. You're playing like something else. You're playing like Ducks. And then they get the jerseys back. Oh, whew. And he, just Velcros on the C onto Charlie's jersey. I don't even know how that happened, but it was great. And it was sewn on every scene after that. The guy dies and Emilio Estevez comes back. Paul Kariya's in it. Come on. It's the best movie of all time.
Oh shit, I'm convinced.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a more spirited debate about the Mighty Ducks series before.
You just are hanging out with the wrong people then.
There might be some truth to that.
What? I'm hanging out with the wrong people?
Yeah, because the group of people I like to hang out with tend to want to touch cups a lot, and it's not the Stanley Cup. What I'm trying to say is that they're alcoholics.
Oh.
Alcoholics. We are a bunch of fucking drunks, but it's great. It's fantastic.
Ziggy zaggy.
That's weird because on my friends like to touch cups, but they just suck dick a lot too, so that's weird. California, all the gay people. Sorry.
You know what? That went right over my head, and I think it's because when I make gay jokes, they're much more vulgar because I'm a New Yorker.
When we make gay jokes in California, we have to be like quiet about it because a gay person might actually hear you and be like, I'm sorry, but that is just not okay. But, you know, just to counteract that, I'm a big believer in if you can play, you can play. So, you know, I'm all for the gay people. See this hole that I'm...
Well, Jake, let's throw him a ladder, alright? Well, let's move on to talking about something that he's also passionate about, and it's about the Olympic jerseys.
So I am a big fan of the Olympic jerseys. I am tired of people saying that they're boring and no good and they don't look like hockey jerseys. First of all, if it's on a hockey jersey, it looks like a hockey jersey. Maybe you should get off the NBA website. I think that the point that Nike was trying to do with the Olympic jerseys is create like a sense of unity between all the teams playing. That they did that perfectly. You know, they care about the nations and the players, the best in the biggest thing. I mean, an Olympic medal, at least to me, would be better. I would rather Team USA win the gold medal than the Kings of the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup. That's just like my personal opinion. So I think that these uniforms help highlight the players that are playing and less about, you know, they're still national pride. They're national jerseys.
Wow. On a gold medal versus the Stanley Cup. I've never even thought about that. Like, cause I just usually say both, but I don't know what I would do if you make me choose.
It's easy for me. Stanley Cup, hands down.
Well, good link for you as well. Won't ever do that, so.
Oh, come. That's the reason why I want the Stanley Cup. It's never happened yet. You guys go back to Detroit and take your 9 fucking rings with you, or 11, or however many the fuck you have. Let us have just one.
Yeah.
That's what everybody, I'm up in Milwaukee right now. So naturally, I'm surrounded by fucking Blackhawks fans. And it's, all I hear is, oh yeah, how many cups have you won? Yeah, come back to me when you have at least one. And it's just, I can't say anything and it pisses me off because that's the only comeback that they have. And it sucks.
Wow, that must be really hard to have no cups.
It is very hard to have no cups.
How do you hold your cups without any?
They just fall to the ground with my tears.
How do we feel about Parise getting the C and Suter getting the A? Jacob, go.
I think Backus got screwed. Parise was going to be Captain America. I mean, it was going to happen. But I definitely think it should have been, David Backus, Dustin Brown, and Callahan with the 3 A's. And that's what I thought it should have been.
Yeah, I thought Brownie should have gotten the C with Callahan and Parise as the A's.
I thought Suter was going to get it the whole time. I think that for 2 or 3 seasons now, he's been an outright beast of a player. And if the Wild ever make the playoffs, he's going to be the primary reason why. I mean, he doesn't come off the ice, and he plays top line minutes. He scores goals, and he defends goals, and he's so good. Holy shit, he's worth every penny.
You know who would have been a good captain for Team USA?
Tommy Wingles.
I was going to say Bobby Ryan and Keith Yandel.
I did that joke yesterday.
Man, we're so, come on. The two of the best players from US born, and they
don't get it. Yandel's both of them definitely deserve to be on the team.
No, we'd rather have Paul Martin. Ooh.
Yeah, fuck that.
Scary.
Although, to be fair, the Chicago Hitmen would rather have Paul Martin than Bobby Ryan as well.
Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't get that joke.
That's alright. It's okay.
Not important.
It's not important. Hey, Mac, so I know that you're a fan of 3 teams, the Kings, the Wings, and the Ducks. But how do you juggle that?
They don't play each other all the time, so it's not not bad when that happens. But when the Kings play the Ducks, I find myself rooting for the Kings, and if the Red Wings play the Kings, I end up rooting for the Red Wings. So I guess I would go Red Wings, Kings, Ducks, and or whoever the home team is a safer answer.
Have you been to any of the parades?
No, I've never been to a parade. I was at the Ducks Stanley Cup win.
You were there in the arena?
Yeah, we sat 3 rows behind Ottawa's bench.
Oh, I'm sure that must have been a great view.
Yeah, it was great. When the players were crying coming off the ice afterwards, they gave me all their sticks. So I have a bunch of broken sticks from that game. And then we've been to a lot of Red Wings playoff games. We were at the one where they beat the Penguins like 5-0 and then lost the series. And we didn't get to see any of the Kings win because I was at school.
What was it like watching the Ottawa Senators lose?
Well, it's weird seeing grown men who are usually so composed, like, professional athletes, in tears, really. Like, coming off the ice, they're, like, broken. And this is before Ray Emery kind of went off the deep end, so there's this fan on the other side of, like, where we're sitting, like, right on the tunnel. And this guy on the other side, he's, like, just chirping hard at Ray Emery. And Ray Emery just, like, goes, motherfucker, you want to fucking fight me? Like, climb down here and I'll kick your fucking ass right now. And the trainer, like, pulls him into the locker room. And it was, like, crazy for me because I was a kid at this time, and I can, like, vividly see the just disdain and hate, and Emery was going to take out an entire season's worth of turmoil on this guy's face.
Wow. Dude, that is not a thing I've seen before.
No, I mean, that's the shit they leave out of 24/7.
That's the shit I wish we saw in 24/7.
Yeah, this year was weak.
Very weak.
Why do you think that gets left out of 24/7?
Because they edited it so that, yeah, we get to see that the coaches get angry. Players look good because we're supposed to be on the players' side, for that thing. And the coaches are kind of part of the league. They're kind of their own thing, I guess. But, they're sort of in the us versus them, they're the them. It gives us a bad guy.
And it's mutual for both sides to show the positives of the players and not show the negatives of it. Because if, let's think the HBO decides, we're gonna show the players getting super pissed at somebody and stuff like that, then the NHL's not gonna ask them back, and HBO loses I don't know how much money it makes off of 24/7, but it's gotta make a decent chunk of change because every hockey fan is glued to that series, and that's everybody in the hockey world talks about that series. Right. And the Winter Classic is such a big TV deal now that HBO makes a bunch of money off of that. So it's one of those, pretty much the NHL says, as long as you don't screw us, we won't screw you. And they're just waiting for that as soon as they show that one bad look at players getting pissed at each teammates in the locker room or whatever. Cause they can show like the players chirping on the ice, but it's when they get into
water bottle.
The fans and stuff like that. Exactly. That's when the NHL is going to clamp down and say, no, we're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Exactly.
We want to look the best we can.
Matt, do you consider yourself an artist?
Do I consider myself an artist? I consider myself a graphic designer. I don't consider myself an artist because if you give me a pencil and paper and say, draw this, I don't know if I could do that. I know I can't.
Is that really the only medium in which somebody can become an artist?
I think music, maybe, and no, I mean, I don't think you ever call yourself an artist, but I think other people can call me an artist. How about that?
I'm down with that.
That's
I was anticipating a yes, so I want to park that point of view for later in the show. Now I want to come back to No, it's fine. It's totally fine because I have a backup. All right, and here it is.
Yeah.
Talk to us from and I'm going to be calling you the artist here.
All right. Well,
talk to us from an artist point of view when you're watching hockey today and when you're watching 24/7 today, and how you would like to tweak it.
How I would like to tweak the way it looks?
I
yes.
think that's what he's asking.
Yes, but also, and I think more importantly, you can debate this if you think differently, is how it's presented.
Oh. Well, as far as how the game looks on the ice, I'm tired of seeing color versus white. We have enough different colors out there to play color versus color, and I think it should be more like soccer, where we have a home kit, which is what our team wears, and an alternate or a clash kit, just in case the Canadians are playing the Red Wings and they need something to wear that isn't red.
Right.
But let's think of an example. The Kings in their purple uniforms can play the Red Wings in their red uniforms with no conflict. We don't need the Rangers in white and the Red Wings in red or other way around, Like we saw in the Winter Classic, the red versus blue looked great, and it looked good on TV. With HDTV, the color is great. It makes it interesting to look at versus, just another hockey game. And for as terrible as the jerseys were for the LA Stadium Series games, that was more visually interesting because it wasn't the same colors we see all the time. As far as like how it's presented to us, I mean, sports have been presented to us the same way forever, like all sports have the lower third or the upper third or whatever, just playing the time and, fools who don't know what they're talking about. One thing that I sort of think is that, if the Super Bowl or, for example, because it's the biggest sporting event in the world, shouldn't be hosted by fools who have had their brains blasted for the last 15 years and can't put a sentence together. If the Oscars and the Tonys can be hosted by Neil Patrick Harris, who's a great orator and speaker, why can't we bring that same professional, professional announcer, I guess? Why can't there be more people like that in sports?
That's a really interesting idea that I've never heard. I mean, I heard a little bit of having hockey announcers announce the Grammys and having Grammy announcers announce hockey games and kind of do that crossover. And I thought, it'd be kind of interesting to see how like Doc Emmerich announces Best New Artist or something like that. I think that could be
very boring.
Right. I mean, but I think having professional like actors and actresses come in and host that Super Bowl, that could be awesome. Because I mean, we all know that there are big football fans in Hollywood, and that they're big. Every sport has their big things. Like John Hamm is a big fan of the St. Louis Cardinals and St. Louis Blues because he's from St. Louis. But there's also guys like Vince Vaughn, who is a huge Blackhawks fan. And I think it would be really cool to hear them, like, if Game 1 of the Stanley Cup this past season with Chicago hosting Game 1 and 2. It would have been awesome to see a pregame show hosted by Vince Vaughn. I mean, I think that'd be awesome.
But another thing sort of on the flip side of that is, Bob Miller and Jim Fox are like the Kings play-by-play analysts, and Bob Miller's in the Hockey Hall of Fame for being an analyst. NBC should not be able to put their fools over a Kings broadcast just because they have the rights to the playoff games. Fans want to hear their people do the play-by-play for, playoff games.
I agree. I want to hear Sam Rosen with my Rangers. I want to hear Bob Papa with my Giants, and I want to hear Michael Kay with my Yankees, especially during the playoffs.
Right. I get a little bit of a bonus just because in baseball playoffs, even though both of them frickin' suck. I have Tom McCarver and Joe Buck, who were both Cardinal analysts, so that's not too bad. But then in the playoffs, I have Darren Pang, who is my fucking boy. I love Darren Pang. And so, I don't know, I guess I get it a little bit more than you guys do, but I would much rather hear Joe Kelly and Darren Pang announce the Blues in the playoffs than the ragtag B team of NBC.
Yeah, maybe C team. We don't want to give them that much credit.
Yeah, exactly. It's the guys that I said, oh, we're gonna send Doc and Pierre.
Oh, JR? You want to go?
Then we'll send them all over to the big market teams. Oh, St. Louis is in it. Yeah, just give them the executive producer and the intern. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think that they should let JR go a little bit more and that they should give him more leeway. What he did with Brian Wilson was awesome.
I just need to get rid of Milbury.
Yeah. I feel like the difference, like I said, same with the football players, old hockey players are not actors. They're not trained to really speak in front of people. And as much as they try and teach them to be the play-by-play guys, like Chris Osgood's with the Red Wings Fox Sports Detroit team now, and I love Ozzy. He's a great goalie, but he is not an analyst for TV, you know? He shouldn't be talking there, you know?
Yep. I agree.
Sticking with the similar Detroit theme, I hear a little rumor that you made it to the big house on January 1st.
I did.
I want to hear all about it. And then I also want to hear how you managed to stay warm.
Oh boy. Well, those are sort of very intertwined. So we were in Detroit for a full week, which is, I think, the longest anybody has actually ever been in that city. So I say that because my family's from Detroit, but so maybe not.
I love that card.
We saw 4 games total. We saw an AHL game between the Griffins and the Marlies, which was the first AHL game I had ever been to. Very cool. 2 alumni games with the B team alumni and the A team alumni. One of those games was very cool. I'll let you pick which one. And then we made the trek to Ann Arbor from Detroit, which really shouldn't be a trek, but because by California distances, it's very close, but in the snow with a bunch of people who don't know how to drive in the snow, it was a trek. So we get up at whatever time that morning. We left at like 9 because we wanted to make sure we were there on time. And it had snowed like a foot that night, the night before the Winter Classic. Like it had started snowing the night before New Year's Eve and didn't stop until 2 days later. So it had snowed, you know, a lot. And Detroit, I don't know if you know this, is a fairly poor city. So they don't really get the street cleaners out to scrape the ice off or salt the streets or whatever the terminology is. I'm from California.
Wait, I thought that Eminem was campaigning the last like 3 or 4 years with his commercials about doing that.
I mean, there's sort of an uprising in Detroit. There's a lot of hipsters moving there because it's cheap, and there's like little sections of like Dixie stores and craft brews and stuff, and it would be a really cool place to live, I guess, and they have great tax write-offs, but, you know, then you're in Detroit. Driving to the Winter Classic and crash, and I've never been in an accident before, so that was terrifying. And we're being passed by a bunch of Ontario license plates who are just trekking through the snow, like they obviously know what they're fucking doing, driving from Toronto. And we get closer to Ann Arbor, maybe 10 miles away, and traffic just backs up because there's only one exit into Ann Arbor, basically, from, you know, the freeway. And this police car goes by, and then these 2 big buses go by, or not flying by, but they're going slowly by. And my dad looks over, he's like, oh, that's probably the Maple Leafs. I'm like, no. And then we watched the 24/7. It was the Maple Leafs. We saw the Maple Leafs drive by, and then so we get there, and we had to park in this mall parking lot and walk 2 miles to the big house because there's like no on-campus parking. Well, there is, but not enough for everybody. So we walked there and get in, and there was this big outside sort of fan fest thing that we just blew through because we wanted to get in and like look it up. So I don't know if you guys have ever been to the big house.
I have not.
Nope.
But it is very large.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And it's this beautiful old brick building. And we went through entrance 1, which is the front. And there's these great staircases that I'm a big architecture nerd, so it's a really great looking building. And on one side of the staircase, you have the Maple Leafs playing soccer, who beat us there because they had a police escort, and the Red Wings playing soccer on the other side. And that was really cool to see. And you walk inside, and it's sort of this big terrace, just open, shitty college stadium thing with snack stands and stuff. Nothing fancy like we see. And then we walked out into, you know, the stadium because we want to see what it's like. And I mean, it was beautiful. I can't, it's been like a month now, and I can't articulate the awe I felt. Like the word awesome means something so great or powerful that it inspires awe. You know, not like awesome, bro. So it was in the truest sense of the word awesome. I mean, it was amazing. There are so many people in that stadium, and everything's covered with snow. and it was beautiful. Like, my dad was like, I hope there's no snow because that's going to be shitty for driving and like sitting in the cold. And I was like, no, you got to get snow because, you know,
it completes the scene.
It adds to the experience. It snowed the whole time. It was beautiful. I can like see it in my head, but you guys can't see that because you're not in my head. I'm sorry. But I mean, it was amazing. We sat in section 44, row 1. So there's 3 terraces, I guess. I don't know if that's a technical term, but 3 like section levels, if you will, of the bowl. So we were right at the first row of the second terrace or section or whatever.
Okay.
So on the blue line. So we had like perfect seats. We were close enough where I knew who every player was without being like, who's that? Because I could read the numbers and like I could basically read the names on the jerseys. We were so close, and we have pictures of it, but it doesn't do it any justice. So we're not super close, but we're close enough to see it. We can see everything. We're right on the blue line. You know, it was great seats. But I was starting to get super cold, which is weird because I'm wearing, like, we bought all these nice clothes. I mean, I had them from last year going to school in the snow, but we're wearing all the snow stuff and like jeans and wool socks and stuff, and my feet are starting to freeze. And I'm like freaking out because I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. So we get to the first intermission and I'm like, my feet are really bothering me. And we walk around and it helps a little bit, but not so much that I could be comfortable. So I start like, you know, I'm like, go to the emergency aid place. I'm like, hey, do you guys have any like heat packs or something that I could put feet? And they're like, no, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't feel my feet. And they're like, well, how many pairs of socks are you wearing? And I was like, well, 3, duh, you know, I'm freezing. I'm trying to wear as many pairs of socks. And like, oh, well, you're actually cutting off the circulation to your feet, so you can't feel anything. Just take some socks off, you'll be fine. And I was like, you're idiots. And then I went and took my socks off and just put 1 pair back on, and then my feet were fine. It was great. I enjoyed the game.
Now, from your seats, could you like see the puck as well?
Oh yeah, definitely saw the puck. When it was snowing hard, it was tough just because we were looking through all that snow. But I could see the puck, I could see the play, I knew what was happening. I can clearly see Zetterberg going down, and they didn't announce that they were going to switch sides halfway through the overtime. So the whole stadium goes, what the fuck? You know, like, as the best fucking player on the Red Wings is on a breakaway, like, with the game on his stick, and the buzzer fucking goes, and we were like, what? Why? Why is this they can't win in overtime? Like, or in a shootout, and it was amazing. But the people we sat around, we were on the Maple Leaf side, we're all very friendly Canadians, and, you know, it was shitty because we didn't have any Red Wing fan around, but we wouldn't have any other way because they were all very nice, and it added to the experience, and, you know, we had a great time.
And what was it like when JR came over and was interviewing the kid near you?
Oh man, that was so cool. He was talking to me and my dad first, and then he sees the little kid and he goes, oh, I'm gonna interview him. Are you okay? And we were like, yeah, that's fine. It's like a little kid. But we were like so close, and the bit was gonna be like, oh, look at the Red Wings fans at a Red Wing game, and then like pan out, look at all the Maple Leafs fans. But then he saw the little kid. But that was really cool, and he's really friendly. You know, we told him we were from LA, and he's like, oh, I loved LA. You know, I'll be at the Stadium Series game. You know, he's a nice guy. That's
so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Please don't stop.
I'm playing it back in my head. It was really amazing. You know,
I'll direct your attention to a couple of things. I was trying to take notice of these things when I was at Yankee Stadium the other night.
I bet that was great too.
Oh, you know it. So
yeah. Well, do you know about Matt's pond hockey experience the week before?
I did. I just listened to your guys' pond hockey bit today, I think.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's a great show. Yeah, that sounds cool. I've played pond hockey once, and I've played at Dodger Stadium once, so those are right at the same level.
I'm loving the irony of you being in SoCal and have had a much richer and much more personal hockey experience than me and Jacob combined. And I love it. I absolutely love it because it justifies and it verifies all the things that we started the show with when we were talking about Gretzky, all the stuff that he supposedly did, because if hockey hadn't taken off, your experience and nobody else's experience could have been this thorough unless you happen to have been an elite player coming out of California. And
Right.
not to denigrate, how good of a player that you were. I'm sure that you were stellar, but I love that it trickled down far enough for the kid growing up playing hockey that unfortunately didn't quite make it, was still able to have such a rich experience through the game in a first-hand way.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, and I have to caveat that with it. We're lucky to be where we are in life. My dad and I, it's just my dad and I. So, we are lucky to have what we have that lets us do all that stuff. But you're right, we wouldn't, without all the shit that the Kings and the Ducks have done, none of this, unless I was some great guy, player of college, shitty club hockey, that's the highlight of my career, I'm by no means an elite level player. So it's amazing that, all this stuff that we sort of go, a game in California, they don't need a game. There's nobody in California who loves hockey. One of the guys when we played at Dodger Stadium is a regular Dodger attendant, and he said, working the Stadium Series game was amazing. I have, never seen the stadium so full in my 5 years working here. I mean, there was standing room seats for the Dodger game, or the Stadium Series game, and I have never heard it so loud when the teams walk out. Dodger Stadium was the loudest, this professional Dodger attendant, guy who works at Dodger Stadium, the loudest it had ever been was for a hockey game. I mean, I think that's amazing.
I think that's so cool, and I think it's so telling about the sport of hockey in itself that I think that, especially in hockey, the fans are so damn passionate about the sport, and that's what I think makes it the greatest sport on this planet.
Well, it's how healthy the sport is. It's an indicator.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
For sure.
All right, Matt.
Man, I feel so left out with both of you guys having outdoor stadium experiences, and I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs saying, yeah, I've only been to the UC and Scottrade. That's about it. Ooh.
Well, you've played some shinny.
Well, I mean, yeah, I played shitty, but I want nothing more than be able to go to an outdoor hockey game. And
I want you to as well.
Damn bad. I want it to be Blues, Minnesota in Minnesota. Well, actually,
I think that's going to happen next year.
I certainly hope so. Because I will drop ungodly amount of money to go see that game.
Well, yeah. Jake, you know that Chicago's going to be getting games, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you know that Minnesota's going to be getting games, so you have plenty of things to look forward to. And, just like Matt and I do, because Matt, you live outside of LA, and I technically live outside of what people consider New York. I live on Long Island. So, we're really lucky in this way, because we live in the 3 premier areas for the outdoor games.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit, Jake, I understand that it's a bit more difficult for you to attend, given that you live in St. Louis, not Chicago or Detroit.
But that's the good thing is that in Milwaukee is only a 45 to an hour minute drive into Chicago, depending on what time you drive and all that good stuff. So it's not too bad. So I could easily get there if I wanted to. I can make it a day trip if I wanted.
And hey, it took me 2 hours to go from my house on Long Island to Yankee Stadium, and that's not entirely abnormal. And that's just through public transportation, alright? And I only went 15 miles, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we played at Dodger Stadium, it took us an hour and a half to get there because the Grammys were going on at Staples Center, which is down the street at the same time. So it was bad.
That's right. You got to play on the Stadium Series ice. How did you manage that?
So we had several opportunities actually. So the Kings and the Ducks, the rink was there from I think the Thursday before the game to the Thursday after the game. It might have been longer. And the Kings and Ducks split time of renting out the ice. So they rented it out to adult league teams and youth teams and high school. And so, what we did was because I could have played with a team in an actual game, which I wanted to do. Or I could have played with my dad at this King's Clinic thing, which is what we ended up doing, which was like 50 people. It was $200 each because, like, I guess that's how much it cost to rent the ice, was like $1,000 or something for 20 people, which is a lot. So we signed up for this clinic thing, and there was 2 sheets of it, and it was a King's alumni clinic, and it was basically Daryl Evans being Daryl Evans. He does this a lot. And so we got to play at Dodger Stadium, which was super cool. I mean, I played at state championships. I played at the World Arena in Colorado College. That's what their full scale, like, arena. It's comparable to Pepsi Center, basically, which is where the Avalanche play. And it was just a practice. It was just a pickup, and there was people that I was, I'm, like I said, not an elite player, and I probably was the best person on the ice, and I still had, besides the ex-pros, I still had an amazing time. I mean, it was so cool, and the ice was really good, which surprised me a lot. I mean, it was, if not the best ice I've played on, equal to the best ice I've played on. And I played at the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Kings practice facilities. So, it was great.
I think that's actually a really interesting question. Matt, where's the coolest place you've ever played?
Well, I passed up being able to skate at Yankee Stadium tonight so I could do this podcast. So it was almost that.
You should have.
Yeah, what is wrong?
Yeah.
I felt bad having put you off already once.
I'm sorry, man, but you should have gone to it. You should have gone to it. That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Well, once in every 6-7 year.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Because I did the thing I really wanted to do, which was go to the game. And I'm 100% confident that there are going to be A, more games at Yankee Stadium, and B, which is much more prevalent just based on proximity. I mean, preferable, not prevalent. Based on proximity is that there are going to be games and also skating opportunities at Citi Field. I can get to Citi Field on a good day driving in 15 minutes and about the same amount of time on the Long Island Railroad. Like, a personal stop right there.
Sweet.
So, yeah, it is sweet. So.
You can get to the airport really quick too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so where is the coolest place? I'm sorry, my cat. Mom, please take care of her. I'm podcasting. This doesn't fit into any stereotypes or anything.
No. Tess just fucking messing up the entire podcast this week.
Yeah.
First she's stealing water drinking out of Matt's water, and then now she's purring in front of his microphone.
Yeah. In any event, I think the coolest place that I've ever played hockey is the Islanders practice facility in Syosset, about 45 minutes east of me. And I used to go to summer camp there pretty regularly. And I met a lot of cool NHLers there. Most prominently, my preference were the Ferraro brothers, Chris and Peter, who were absolute dolls to me. They gave me time and they had real conversations and were very encouraging. And, oh man, those guys, I wish I'd actually stayed in touch with them. They had given me an email that I could have stayed in touch and I didn't. Although, Matt, did you listen to our very first episode about my Zdeno Chara story?
I mustn't have listened to that part because I don't know what that is.
It was a great story.
Alright. So, Zdeno Chara drafted in 1997, so I can tell you how old I am. Hold on, I'm on Hockey TV. He is drafted in 1996. Okay, so that makes me 8 going on 9. Okay, and I am at this hockey camp, and precocious and foul-mouthed is a very nice way of putting me as a 8 going on 9-year-old. So, I'm a fully engaged Rangers fan. Hey, we won the cup recently. I'm able to make Mike Milbury jokes, although not really. I'm just making fun of the island name that I know. And Zdeno Chara is practicing during our dry drills. At hockey camp there, we had on-ice drills and we had off-ice drills. So this was during our off-ice time so that obviously Zdeno could practice. And well, I snuck away from the dry drills to go up in the stands and heckle this partially petrified 17-year-old Czech who just got drafted by the Islanders and looks like he had never set foot on American soil previously. And from there, I heckled him and I said all the meanest things, and they were real curse words and making real sentences. And then I was asked to stop after about 15 minutes, so I did. And then I got dressed because they were done with the dry drills, and I got dressed to go on the ice. And so they took my section of the class. We went on the ice first. So we were at one end of the ice, and Zdeno was at the other end of the ice, and I stood at the red line. And I stood at the red line sort of purposefully, because now I had the opportunity to heckle Zdeno Chara an arm's length away. And I continued to say all of the meanest, dirtiest, and insultingest things I could possibly think to say to Zdeno Chara, who didn't even know I existed from a hole in the wall the hour previous. And I don't even know how much English he understood. I just said everything with the word fuck in it. And he finally got fed up. He looks at me with a scowl that would make Batman proud. And he looks at the trainer and the coach that he's with. Tess, you cannot drink my water. What's wrong with you?
Wow, that's a weird thing. Your cat came in the middle of the ring.
So he looks at the trainer, and he looks at me, and he points at me, and he points off the rink. He says, out, out, get the fuck out. And then the trainers and the coaches finally, I guess, acknowledged my existence because they were ignoring me. And then they said, yeah, get the fuck out. I'm 8 going on 9, and they're telling me to get the fuck off the ice because I'm heckling Zdeno Chara too much, which makes sense. I mean, it's down his practice facility, but yeah, that's my Zdeno Chara story. Wonder if he remembers that.
I love that story. That's such a good story.
Thank you. However, I am not the guest of today's show.
I mean, you should be after that story.
Oh, thank you. Do you want to ask me some questions? I'll give you some answers.
No, I don't have any questions. I didn't come prepared. I'm a terrible host. Want to switch back?
Sure.
Okay.
So, did your experience at the Big House change your thoughts and feelings on the outdoor series that the NHL has been hosting all these years?
Not the Big House, but definitely Dodger Stadium. I have been a fan of the Winter Classic since the first Heritage Classic, right? That was first, yeah. So I like the idea of an or maybe 2 outdoor games. You know, it's not gimmicky when it's only 2. It's just this cool event, you know. Then I was like, okay, maybe the Stadium Series isn't a bad idea. Like, I like the idea that they're playing in LA. You know, Yankee Stadium's cool. Fuck the Penguins and the Blackhawks. They've already played a bunch. Which is really my only qualm, is that we keep picking the same teams to play in these games. Then I watched the Kings game and the Ducks game, and I signed up to play at Dodger Stadium, and I was like, this is really cool. This just proves that California is a hockey state, you know, even if everybody's like, oh, California surfs up, bro. We can play with the best of them, you know, and that was really cool. And then I watched the New York game, and I was reading all the comments about, you know, oh, we can't do the Stadium Series with these jerseys because the jerseys are ugly and it's snowing, so they have to be old-time jerseys. I'm like, you're an idiot, because if they're old-time jerseys, it's just Winter Classic light. The reason they did this is because they have to differentiate and create its own identity, which made me feel like I was defending the Stadium Series, and if I defended the Stadium Series, I obviously enjoyed it. So then, by all means, the NHL did the right thing by doing the Stadium Series, so I guess I'm on the side of the Stadium Series. Boom. drop the mic, walk away.
I'm with you, brother. I don't love the jerseys, but I don't care. I love the event. And that's what's important.
I say, let me design jerseys, play the game.
I forgot who said it best, but if you're going to the Winter Classic or Stadium Series for the hockey game, you're going for the wrong reasons. Because it's not about the specific game. It's about the entire event as a whole.
Right.
And I have to tell you that Yankee Stadium didn't make it much of an event. Okay?
Really?
There were no sidebar events in and around the city as a whole, as well as the location of Yankee Stadium. There were, obviously the stores or the bars or whatever that were near held events, but there were no NHL or Yankee Stadium or Rangers, etc. designated events. Literally zero. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said the Kings and the Ducks definitely played it up around here. I mean, people who don't know anything about hockey, like you could tell them California has a hockey team and they'd be like, really? Which one? And like that, those sort of people were like, did you know they're playing hockey in Dodger Stadium? And I was like, yes, I do. Do you?
And the musical artists were horrible. CeeLo Green couldn't handle not being paid attention to. And the other musical artists couldn't handle not being paid attention to. And this was where the NHL sort of went wrong. Or actually, no, they did go wrong. In that these artists are unnecessary. This sort of entertainment is unnecessary, especially when you're sitting in 20-degree weather with a breeze, which is what it was like at Yankee Stadium. I don't need that kind of distraction. I need a distraction that will get me up out of my seat and go walk around, because that's how you generate body heat.
Right.
Just in case you don't know. But as well as these artists don't resonate with New Yorkers. They don't resonate with hockey, and they don't resonate with baseball, the Yankees. And so it was stupid. However, I will say that the platform that he and the other artists were standing on was really cool.
The subway map thing?
The subway map thing, yeah, because the streaks of light that were around the platform. Cool. Yeah, that was an outline of the different subways that go into the Bronx and Yankee Stadium. And those symbols that N, H, and L were in, those...
Yeah, those the train things.
Yeah, those are the train symbols. So that was really cool. But other than that, I was there for the spectacle of seeing an outdoor hockey game. And I was happy as a pig in shit just watching the hockey game. And being able to walk around because Yankee Stadium is spacious.
That's sort of the same thing at the Big House was, we didn't want to sit there to listen to the women's team be announced. We didn't want to sit there to listen to any of the bands that were there. We wanted to watch the hockey game and then not be sitting in the snow,
Yeah, you said it perfectly. When it comes to the cold weather, it's not worth sitting through excess entertainment because I'm just going to get colder. They're never going to be entertaining enough to distract me from the fact that even though I'm wearing 10 layers, I'm still shivering.
Right.
Was it different at Dodger Stadium? I know you didn't go to the game, but could you see
I'd say it's sort of the same thing. I mean, Kiss was worthless. Like, why? That was dumb. The volleyball thing was cute, but it was stupid. I liked the little kids playing roller hockey. I mean, they always have the kids playing hockey thing, so that was fine. And it was easier than doing another ice surface. But except for the fact that Five for Fighting was really good in their performance, and I was watching it on TV. If I were there, I don't think I would have sat to listen to. Definitely not Kiss, because no one gives a shit.
Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. I just thought of a great attraction idea that I'm shocked that Yankee Stadium didn't do.
Oh?
Yes?
We all know about Monument Park in Yankee Stadium. It's their primary attraction other than the Yankees. So they expanded upon Monument Park to include important and retired Rangers, Devils, and Islanders, so that you would have the juxtaposition between those three great players. Imagine you got Bobby Nystrom, and you've got Scott Stevens, and you've got Brian Leach as a monument. Even if it's just a temporary monument, a monument, and then you've also got Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and George Steinbrenner. Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, that's really cool. I know
that would be very cool.
When they played in Fenway, they had the Red Sox retired numbers, and then they had the Bruins retired numbers, which I thought was really cool.
I didn't know that. That is really cool.
Yeah, I think, like, cause they have it up on their wall, like on the wall, and they have like all the numbers, and then they have the Bruins numbers up. And I really like that. And I thought they would have done the same thing for the Tiger Stadium game, because Tiger Stadium has sort of one of those little Memorial Park type deals, too, and I was expecting them to have some Gordie Howe stuff or Ted Lindsay or whatever, but they didn't.
Ah, damn. Missed opportunity, NHL.
Yeah, come on,
yeah,
NHL.
Step up your shit.
Alright, so we've covered a lot of interesting topics, but I'd like to dig a little deeper into the man that is Matthew McElroy. And there is an interesting dichotomy that has brewed within you, sir, in your short life.
Yeah.
Graphic design and mechanical engineering. Okay, so first, please give a little background into graphic design and mechanical engineering, and then pick one of those two topics to delve a little deeper into and how it's manifested in your life.
Okay, well, background on graphic design is the art of, so I guess my beginnings in graphic design is in elementary school or middle school. We had this class called tech, and it was like a combination of wood shop and computer lab. So we had like CNC machines and laser cutters, and we did this crazy computer shit. But we also learned basic Photoshop and stuff, so I like learned graphic design basics there, and I was like, this is really cool and I'm good at it. Daddy, can I buy Photoshop? And he's like, you're an idiot. No. So I just went into the room and started, like during lunch, and started making really bad hockey jerseys using Photoshop to like try and edit existing jerseys, which if you've seen my like Kings post on aesthetics from the old days, it was terrible. And it comes up every once in a while. It's sort of, and then my mechanical engineering aspirations are from a unsettling need to be an Imagineer, who are the people who design rides and really are the people who make Disney and Disneyland and Disney World and all the Disney parks happen. So that's been like my goal forever since I'm not going to be a hockey player. I'm going to build rides for Disneyland. It was sort of how that went. Unfortunately, I never grew out of that one, so.
Don't.
That's
be an Imagineer.
Cool. Do it.
Yeah.
Now, what would you want to design for Disney?
See, that's tough because I'm also a theater minor. I love storytelling. So I love the intricacies that go into setting up just the entirety of a Disney attraction. Even if you don't notice it, there's a lot of story being told in line for rides, so you feel more immersive or immersed. So it is more immersive. So I love that sort of storyboarding idea. But my like dream is I really like the monorail at Disneyland. I don't know. My friends call it a space penis, but I just think it's the coolest thing ever. I would love to design the next generation of monorail, but at the same time, I have this vision for a Six Flags-esque Disney park, because Disney
on the moon?
has
on the moon.
On the moon. Has great roller coasters when they want to do roller coasters, but they haven't invested in like a teens and above thrill park. And I think that if they would do that in Orlando where they have the room to do it, I mean, they would draw in like a whole new crowd that goes, oh, Disney's lame. It's all little kid shit. So, you know, if you could apply what they've learned and mastered from theme park development and apply that to thrill rides like Rock and Roller Coaster Expedition, just to name a few of their good ones, I mean, they would be on to something.
Everybody I know fucking loves Disney. Like, Disney movies in classic 90s, Lion King, Toy Story, Finding Nemo, even though it's a little more 2000s-ish. I fucking love those movies.
I mean, I'm not saying that they don't, but maybe it's because I live in California with a bunch of people who are from California, and even where I went to school in Arizona, is people like Disneyland at least is overrated. You know, everybody loves Disney movies, but Disneyland and Disney World have the stigmatism for being for little kids. And I mean, that might be true, but it's for kids of all ages, to quote Walt. But I am a firm believer that you can target different audiences in one place like Disney World and like pull more people. Like even if there was just a land added to like Disneyland or the Magic Kingdom that was like thrill rides, like a Marvel Land because they have that, or they're redoing Tomorrowland in California to be Star Wars Land, and if they did that to be like, yeah, we know we have this teen demographic that wants crazy cool rides, why don't we do that? I mean, I just think it would be badass.
Have you ever thought about doing graphic design
for Disney? Yes, I have. That's been a recent ambition of mine. I am a big fan. One of the things that I collect besides hockey jerseys, which I have a butt ton of, is not only musical posters, like, you know, Broadway show action posters. Every ride that is at a Disney park has an attraction poster. And they got really shitty for a little while, but they're kind of bringing back the classic style with the newer rides, and I think they are so cool. But everything at the parks has a designer behind it, and, you know, that's one thing where I thought, well, maybe I could do that for them. And you still get the Imagineer label if you are working that, but it's not like the guy, you know, which is sort of what I want to be. I want to be the guy.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could be able to design stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do that too. That's why I'm going to school for it.
I gotta tell you, I've never been really in love with Disney anything, but I have had an on-again, off-again love affair with everything Tim Burton.
Oh, yeah, he's good in a weird way.
Which is why I like it.
I love Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Which character or which movie would you want to make either rides or hockey jerseys from the Tim Burton series? Because I would ask you about Disney, but we already have the Mighty Ducks.
Right.
Alright, so I feel like that's the answer.
Tim Burton. That's so tough because he's got a lot of good stuff. I mean, obviously Nightmare Before Christmas is sort of his thing. But Tim Burton sort of has a ride already with Haunted Mansion during the holidays between October and like December becomes Haunted Mansion Holiday, and it's all Nightmare Before Christmas themed. So that's sort of a ride. I really like Sweeney Todd because I'm a musical person, and I think that would make a really cool ride because there's a lot of visual cues in that movie, like when Helen Bonham Carter sends people to the basement that he's killed, she like pulls this big lever and people like slide down. So that could be incorporated into it, and it's got a really cool visual style. But as far as a hockey jersey, I feel like my OCD and like need for straight lines and Tim Burton's like, just fuck it, you know, kind of mentality don't mesh well. So I don't know if I would be able to do a hockey jersey, but I have wanted to do jerseys based off of the lands in different parks, like a Tomorrowland and an Adventureland jersey for a long time, but I have trouble deciding what the logos should look like.
All right, I got one more, and then Jake, you can spit fire. So, superhero jerseys have become really popular over the last couple of years, as well as jerseys that represent a character from a television show. The first two to come to mind are Captain America and Doctor Who in particular.
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on those particular jerseys or memorializing these mediums in a jersey? And this is the last one. Are there any characters or shows that you are itching to create a jersey on?
Okay, well, I like the idea and I don't like the idea. I like the idea because I think it's a neat idea that nobody's ever had before, but as like somebody who sees myself as like, I don't know, professional level, and I like to think that if I were to do something enough, it would change sort of the way everybody looks at design. I mean, that's really egotistical of me to say, but it's sort of like, I feel like we set trends that get picked up, you know, by real designers. So if we do it enough, it'll happen. So I feel like if I were to just start doing a bunch of like fun kind of like, look at my Disneyland jersey and look at my TV show Big Bang Theory or whatever jersey, it would just become like gimmicky. And it would sort of weaken my reputation as a designer.
That's fascinating. That's so fascinating you have that perspective, because that you don't want to just go with the trend. You really want to make a statement, and it's the statement that you want to make is the most important thing, and timing is as important an ingredient to it as anything else.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'll make a jersey, like, sorry, tangent. I won't forget about the jersey I want to make. Well, I'll just say that and then go on my tangent. I would love to see a Power Rangers jersey.
Yes! Yes!
So if you're out there listening to this, Power Ranger jersey, I'll take the white one with the shoulder pads. That'd be great. Tommy Oliver.
Attaboy.
I want
So my tangent,
now.
shameless plug, my tangent is I'll design a jersey that I'm like, oh, this is super forward thinking and like cutting edge, you know? And then I'll be like, oh, but I can't actually send that in to anybody because I know the 4 people on aesthetics and the 5 people on HJC who are going to be like, no, this doesn't look like a hockey jersey. It looks like a soccer jersey. And I just think to myself, fuck you, man. It doesn't look like anything. It's a hockey jersey because I said it's a fucking hockey jersey.
Yes. Yes, all day.
I posted one of my, oh, there's a Power Ranger jersey. I posted one of my early ideas for my, like a fix for the USA jersey, and, I forget who it was, but somebody's like, oh, it looks like the soccer jersey, like you got the sash. And I was like, yeah, I know. I took the sash from the soccer jersey for a reason. Like, I am a strong believer that achievements made by national teams are shared by all the national teams. It's not USA Hockey one, it's Team USA ones. So if USA Soccer puts sash on their jersey because they won something, basketball and hockey and swimming and all the sports should do that too.
Yes.
Because we're Team USA.
Yes.
We're getting Team Gold.
Oh, God.
We're Team USA and we're going all the way.
Right.
USA! USA! Oh, I feel so good all over. Oh.
And then, oh, wait, did Sidney Crosby just score again? Fuck.
Wait, no, I just got out of therapy. You're not right, Tess.
Yep.
Yeah, that was hard.
So
a good example of the change in my thing is I'll link it to you now, or send you a file in the chat, but you can put it up. There's this competition on HJC for Calgary, and I did something that is not like a retro jersey. It's not like anything. I decided on a striping pattern, and then I just blew it up really big, so the stripe's only on half the jersey. But it's something we've never seen before, and I think it's really cool, and it won't get well approved because it's so different, but, you know, maybe that's what we need to see, is risking my, like, winning a contest to show different things.
You should.
Yeah.
It's not about being outside the box. It's about expanding the size of the box.
Right.
I saw this. This is interesting, but I like it.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the feeling that people are going to get. It's like, well, it's weird, but it's not bad.
Exactly, yeah. Because especially on the away one, just the gold stripe right in the middle, look, and how it's not connected directly to the red. It's very different, but it does look very good.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like, I forget who it was, but some fashion designer was like, if I designed hockey uniforms, this is how they would look. And everybody's like, no! There's no stripes! The Montreal Canadiens can't not have a chest stripe. And I was like, you're missing the fucking point of this article.
Not only that, they actually don't have a center stripe in the away one, so technically they can.
Yeah, so fuck
Yeah.
you, Canadian fans.
Just a question about this one is, did you do the parallel laces because of the Stadium Series jerseys?
Yeah, I liked that a lot. I liked that collar design from the Stadium Series jersey. So when I updated my template, which the new version just came out like last week, I added in that laced style, the straight across style, and I added in the Stadium Series cut is now part of the template, as well as the Nike cut from the Olympics and the Nike fake lace collar.
And how do you come up with a template for designing a jersey that becomes just basically that anybody can fill the gray and then design their own? How do you come up with that?
Well, So the way Iceborne came about, I guess, is sort of what you're asking is.
Yeah.
Chris Smith from Aesthetics asks me over the summer before the yearbook came out. He's like, "Hey, I don't want to use the template that I've been using for the ICHL. I want something new. Can you help me with that?" And I was like, "Sure." So I, in 10 minutes, sketched out a jersey, or what I thought a jersey should look like. And he didn't give me any prerequisites or anything on what he wanted it to look like. He just said that the sleeves should be down by the body. So I drew basically what the first Iceborne template was. And I sent it to him, and he's like, "That's great, let's go with that." And so I started applying all the team's jerseys to that. And then he's like, "You know what, I want to change something." And I was like, "Okay, well, we'll change the template." So we changed a little bit, and then I started fixing them all again. And he's like, "Well," and we got till Milwaukee, and he's like, "Well, this doesn't work because the stripes don't match up, because the barleys or wheat or whatever is at the bottom is supposed to be right at the bottom, and you have it, either being cut off by your square corners or too high. So we can't do that." And I was like, "Okay." So he came up with the template that ended up being used based off of Iceborne. But I really liked the way my template was looking. So I emailed it to my bud, Dylan Alexander, and I was like, "Hey, can you help me with this? Like, what do you think a jersey template needs?" And he's like, "Well, one problem that I have is all the templates are a bunch of loose layers, and there's no, if you don't know how Photoshop works, there's groups and layers and stuff like that. So there's no, it's not organized in any way." So that was what we tried to do, was collect it all into simple layers. And I did an even better job with that the second time around. And everything should be, if you downloaded it properly or you have the right version of Illustrator, should be in proper layers with names for everything and all the pants and, all the stuff that you see I drew at one point, and then I scan it and trace it into Illustrator with the tools there, and then play with it once I got the basic shape. And then coming up with the lines of like where stitching would be is easy afterwards. The hard part's getting the overall shape.
That's awesome. I can never do that. That's so cool.
Yeah, the hardest part for me, I think, was the helmet, because I wanted something that was different than any helmet out there, so it was like recognizable, and I like it a lot. I ended up drawing it really big in my notepad and then scanned it, like I said, and imported it into the template. I think it looked good.
Mac, since you've been so enveloped with making jerseys and thinking about jerseys, and you have a jersey collection, where do you think the hanger effect for hockey jerseys lies? Like, where in the design of a jersey that the hanger effect may lie, as I've said it twice now, as well as, have you developed an eye for something that looks good on computer but doesn't necessarily translate to real life, or vice versa?
Well, one thing, I guess, I'll start with the hanger effect. The hanger effect doesn't look good on the computer and looks good in real life, because on the computer it's much smaller, you can't really see it, it just doesn't look good. Same with shoulder patches. Why I never really put shoulder patches on any of my jerseys that I design is because they don't look good on the computer, and I'm going for the best overall and like cleanest look. So when people are like, "You didn't put shoulder patches," I was like, "I know, I designed it. Thank you for the memo though." I haven't ever designed something that I wouldn't wear myself. So like when you say would look good on the computer but not in real life, I mean, the reason we do stuff on the computer is for real life. So I don't think there's stuff that is bound for the computer, but at the same time, maybe that's what I think about some of the ICHL jerseys, is that they look good on a template, but you're not taking it into the context of the real world where it might not look as good.
And how would we expand the box that we were talking about earlier? Taking some of these concepts and applying them towards the real world. Because unfortunately, it seems that the real world has a very narrow definition of what a hockey jersey looks like. We've got to figure out how to bring diversity into the fold for a hockey jersey.
I guess to put it in a poignant way, is you're asking, how do we shift the paradigm on hockey jerseys? And that's sort of a cultural thing, you know. I am a firm believer in, like, one vote or one person can change everything. So it all starts with one person. If I decide, okay, well, all hockey jerseys are from now on are going to have vertical stripes, I start making a bunch of hockey jerseys with vertical stripes, and everybody's like, this is terrible. What happened to Matt McElroy? He used to be a great designer. And then some kid is going to go, wow, that's such a cool idea. Vertical stripes on a hockey jersey. Who would have thought? So he's going to start putting vertical stripes. And then now there's 2 of us who think vertical stripes are acceptable for a hockey jersey. And then 3 people, and then 4 people, and then soon enough, that becomes the norm. But it all has to start with somebody. And we saw that in the ISHL jerseys this time. There were some great, unique jerseys that would have made great jerseys for the ISHL because they are just print-bound. But because the majority of people can't see it as anything other than a traditional hockey jersey, they lose that and sort of get blinded by their comfort zone, if you will.
I will, because I know that I get blinded by my comfort zone, and I have purposely put my comfort zone into the more fantastical areas of the ISHL in their concepts, as well as hockey jersey concepts. And man, if you give me something that even remotely looks like a normal hockey jersey, I'm going to write it off. So, I mean, I guess I flip comfort zone on its head.
Yeah, I think that's the same way with I think especially with the ISHL, is that the jerseys, I think, should be different than what we're normally seeing in the NHL, because this is a very different style. Well, first of all, it's not the NHL, and Chris has specifically stated he doesn't want it to be. But I definitely think that the different those different eccentric jerseys are what should make the ISHL a fantastic fantasy hockey league. And I definitely agree with you guys saying that the eccentric jerseys are what should be winning those jersey designs, and not the standard 2 stripes on the elbows, 1 bottom stripe, and a shoulder yoke, and you're good to go.
Well, I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
How do you fix the voting process to make that happen?
I think that it's difficult because it's voting by the masses, and the majority of people like the standard NHL jerseys because that's what they're used to seeing. And so that's, like you guys have said, that's implicit in their mind thinking, oh, that's what a hockey jersey should be. But really, it's about the guys that are coming up and showing, no, hockey jerseys can be much different than that. And we saw that with Vancouver and the tree stripes at the bottom. I think that's awesome. And I really like that jersey won over just the standard sort of hockey, like quote unquote hockey jerseys. And so the way to fix the voting, I guess, is just in the comment section saying that I really think that this jersey is good because it's different than anything we've ever seen, and it would look good, and it looks good on a computer, and I definitely think that it fits with the quote unquote brand of the team.
Yeah, that's sort of one of the ideas that I have discussed with Chris. And the other thing that I really like personally, maybe because it gives me a bigger role, but I would love to see 2 or 3 designers, you know, everybody puts their name in a hat and we vote for 15 designers because we're rebranding 5 teams, okay?
Yeah.
15 designers get picked and they get paired up in 3s. That team of 3 is now responsible for the new identity, logos, and brand, and like jerseys and everything of that team. And if the masses don't like it, well, it's their fault for picking that team, you know?
Yeah.
You might get a bunch of traditional shit, but you might get the best crazy shit ever. You've got 3 really creative people going, all right, we can do whatever we want. Let's do it as well as we can.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool and interesting idea that could turn out very well.
Matt, I think I have an answer to your question, and I don't pay close enough attention to aesthetics in the non-fantasy hockey league arena enough, so if Chris or anyone else is listening and they say, I do that, I apologize, but making a note to consistently point out what the mission for the concepts is supposed to accomplish. So if the primary concept is supposed to be pushing the envelope of what a hockey jersey can be or should be, now that's vaguely specific enough to give wiggle room for creativity and some standardization. I don't see a message. I just see, alright, these are our options. This is your time frame to vote. This is where you vote. Let's see what we come up with. Which isn't bad, and in fact it's good. It's made aesthetics quite successful. So if you were to narrow it down a little bit and say, we are trying to push the envelope here, it would help weed out some of the traditionalists, and it would help weed in some of the non-traditionalists. And that would assist in doing what it is that we're trying to do. I just don't know that that's what we're going to see from aesthetics, which is fine. It's Chris's and the community's prerogative. But I think that and I remember saying this over the summer when I was on the voting committee. We have an opportunity to really embrace newness and fantasy. And obviously not every idea is going to be a winner. But if you don't try, then you're just going to keep sticking with the same old. And that's the point of why we're here, is that we're tired of the same old. Or at the very least, we want to improve the same old. Unfortunately, the voting process doesn't always keep up with that. And I think a lot of it is because they aren't privy to the conversation. So it's about including them in the overall conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. At the same time, though, like, I check all the concept sites daily. You know, I look at HJC and aesthetics every day. I know basically what happened that day. You know, I'm looking at them right now. Going through, for the most part, I see, okay, that jersey has 3 stripes, that jersey has 3 stripes, that jersey has 3 stripes, 3 stripes, 3 stripes, 2 stripes, 3 stripes, 3 stripes, 1 stripe. You know, it's all the same fucking jersey. These aren't concepts. They're recolors of the same idea. You know, I want to see actual concepts, and I'm guilty of that too. You know, I just had like a whole league rebrand. But they weren't concepts. They were a rehash of traditional ideas. You know, I think maybe the problem is we're calling them concepts, but they're not. It's not a concept car. It's a newer model.
And I'm tired of newer models. I just want a new thing.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. Matt, I want to thank you so very much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. It's always fun to do this kind of stuff. Can't wait to be back, maybe.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, you'll definitely be back.
Matt, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at number 9 concepts, no spaces, on Twitter, and also at number 9 concepts.tumblr.com, and on aesthetics.com. I think it's /Matt McElroy. I'm not 100% sure how to get to my page, but it's definitely there. And you can email me at number9concepts@gmail.com.
We will put the link to Matt McElroy's page on aesthetics in the description, so don't worry about it.
Matt, another great show today.
You too, buddy.
Yep. All right. Thank you all for listening to us, and we'll be back shortly.